You know, I'm so proud of my son because in his last moments, he wasn't screaming for me. He was screaming, Jesus, Jesus, save me. Jesus, I hear you. Jesus, I'm calling upon you. And his wildest dreams and everything that he wanted to be was a superhero. And that was his goal in life. And instead, he's my hero because he reached for something past flesh, past human, past anything that even grown adults, I think, would reach for. My son called out to the one God Almighty. And I think at that moment he was rescued and he became my hero. And I think all of them carried me through that moment. I think that his biggest dreams, he was the smartest, bravest, hopeful, great friend, great son. I couldn't have asked for a better son. And he was so happy up until the very end when he was screaming for Jesus. And in that moment, I think he found joy.
You know, the innocence of children is actually quite spectacular. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it is. Marissa being a mother too, Megan and Heather, I do, amidst the tragedy, your parents as well. Jessica included.
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met.
I would rather vote for a man who is convicted on 34 felony counts, but who is willing to put America first, than to cast a vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. These people are showing us exactly who matters to them. They are showing us every single day who they care about. They have $750 in aid that they are willing to give out to American citizens who have literally lost everything. People's towns, everything have been completely wiped out. They get $750. But when it comes to Ukraine, when it comes to funding other countries, when it comes to rolling out the red carpet and letting millions and millions and millions of illegals come in, you have money for that. You have money to put illegals up in hotel rooms. You have money to send our tax dollars to other countries who's doing God knows what with it. But when we have American citizens here, when they are suffering and who have literally lost everything, our government is MIA. See, this is why I like to vote for facts over feelings instead of looking at how nice a person pretends to be. Anybody can put out a good image. Anybody can make themselves look good. But when it comes down to it, look at what they're doing with the money. Look at who is getting the money. And every registered voter should pay attention to this. Pay attention to how this government is spending your tax dollars. When you go to the poll, think.
Fucking unreal. Holy shit, unreal.
Say it. I'm not thinking about voters right now. I'm thinking about lives. And to be honest, it's much bigger than anything else. But we're thinking about lives, a lot of lives lost, a lot of people missing. And that's what I'd be focused on right now.
This country has ever seen. The reason why those Americans in North Carolina, those mothers, those fathers, those precious little children, were left to die, were left on rooftops begging their government for help that never came, is because Kamala Harris turned FEMA into an illegal alien resettlement agency. Its manpower, its dollars, its resources, its mental energy was spent over the last 4 years learning how to do one thing, how to get illegal aliens from outside the country into your town. And so when disaster struck, they were not ready, they were not prepared, they were not capable, and they did not care. And our fellow citizens, including babies, children, young kids, were left to suffer and drown. They did not scramble the helicopters. They did not scramble the military. They did not send needed assistance. But if those children had been living in a foreign country, they've been living in Haiti, or they've been living in Venezuela, why then Kamala Harris would have sent in help immediately. A betrayal like we've never seen before, Sean. This is infuriating.
Crises that the country has been facing over the past several days with the hurricane, with the port strike, with the situation in the Middle East. Can you talk about how your vice president, who is running for the presidency, has worked on these crises and what role she has played over the past several days?
Well, I'm in constant contact with her. She's aware we're singing from the same song sheet. She helped pass all the laws that are being employed now. She was a major player in everything we've done, including passage of legislation which we were told we could never pass. And so she's been, and her staff is interlocked with mine in terms of all the things we're doing.
Finish the sentence, okay? Joe Biden was at the beach. The storm hit on Thursday night. He's on the beach. He doesn't even think about going. And you know what? Kemp asked.
Dropped a snow cone all in the sand. Did somebody tell her those headphones are not plugged up to the phone? They got to be plugged up to the phone for them to be working, and for you to use them, you got to plug them up to the phone.
For disaster relief for 99 counties. And Donald Trump was right when he said that they're not giving the Republicans the relief. The Biden administration only gave relief for 11. And then when everybody kicked and screamed, Biden said, okay, we'll give 30 counties some disaster relief. So let's just be truthful about this. And I got to tell you, one thing that aggravates the hell out of me, why do Democrats think the way to solve the problem is to throw money in it? Close the damn border. If you don't have enough money for American citizens who are in an emergency, who need food and baby formula and everything else and heat, we can't even find them. And yes, there are places where the National Guard hasn't even hit yet. Well, damn it, that money is my money. It's for Americans in a disaster. It is not for illegals who violated our law to come here in the first place. And by the way, it's $1 billion of FEMA money. Biden in 2022 created a program that allows a transfer of FEMA money. And if $1 billion isn't enough to scare you, our administration has spent $66 billion on illegals. And that's for education, medication, law enforcement, and welfare.
Yeah, that doesn't even include law enforcement.
Well, in the end, what we've got is Americans suffering when we fought the wars, built the streets, and now we're letting illegals we don't even know want to flip the bird to us in the end and give them the money when our kids don't have baby formula. You can be damn sure they got baby formula at the border for illegals. Enough of this nonsense.
Are they still not there anywhere? What are you seeing from FEMA in the federal response, if any?
I mean, they're present. They're in the way. They are directly interrupting our ability to conduct missions and operations. And I'm not going to disparage anybody because we are trying to work within partner relationships, both government and non-government entities within state and federal and county. I went to put a couple of people into a hotel last night, and they have a security guard at the hotel, and they said, "Oh, we're so sorry. The entire hotel has been booked for federal employees." And I was like, no, I have people that would just pull it out of a mountain that are living out in the hills, and there's not a place for me to put them because we have federal employees that are staying in the hotel. I slept in this white car last night. I smell like foot and death right now, as does every single person on our team. Not a single one of us slept. We got done maybe at 3 o'clock. The moment the sun was up and we could fly helicopters again, we were back in the air, and we have not stopped. And I was like on the fence about trying to get on this program or not. I want people to understand how incredible this organization is, Save Our Allies, and all the work that all of these volunteers are doing. But people, this is biblical level devastation. This is apocalyptic, the things that we see out there.
These are towns up in the mountains that are 10, 20, 40 miles away from any other town. And people on the ground like you need helicopters from the government, and they will not release them. I have heard that time and again, and the people who are delivering aid up in the mountains are now getting requests for body bags. Tim, we got to
you are 100% correct. Oh, you're right about that. And there was a no-fly when the president flew in today. We had to land helicopters to not go rescue people so a photo op could take place. And that's a travesty, and that's unconscionable.
If people want to donate, is it saveourallies.com?
That's right. And if somebody is stuck somewhere, or you know somebody that's stuck, you can go to saveourallies.org, and you can click on there. Let us know. We have people going all over in the places that can't be reached. That's why we have special operations people working with partnerships to get into those areas. So go there, support that organization, and also let us know where to go.
Tim Kennedy, you are a great American. Thank you. And I know all of this devastated area thanks you, and Save Our Allies as well. We appreciate you being on the program and just taking a couple moments out of rescuing people to tell us the story. Thank you, Tim Kennedy.
Love you.
If I seem a little angry in this video, it's because I am. And you might not care right now because you're not personally affected. But let me tell you this. The Department of Homeland Security, the head of that organization is Alejandro Mayorkas. And he recently released a statement stating that FEMA does not have enough resources, enough money to provide disaster relief throughout the rest of hurricane season. How does that even make sense when we've given tens of billions of dollars to other countries that have nothing to do with us? We have American citizens right now in Georgia, North Carolina, and other states affected by Hurricane Helene, and we don't have enough money. But you know what? FEMA magically somehow found a way to give over $600 million away to services to be rendered to non-citizen migrants who are coming to American communities. And meanwhile, Kamala Harris is out there talking about how any individual who was affected by Hurricane Helene can expect to receive $750 per person. How does that even make sense? You might not care. It might not affect you personally, but guess what? Those on the left side of the aisle will continue to support these politicians because these politicians are driven to make sure that the American citizen winds up ultimately last, and that simply cannot be allowed to continue.
This is my home, and I just want all of you to know that, like Eugene was saying, you remember when we had the fires, everybody pitched in, tried to do everything that they could. And so I really think that this is a time for me to step up again, for all of us to step up and do what we can. And of course, today I wanted to announce that from myself personally, just from my own bank account, I'm donating $1 million today. But there's a lot to be done, and we're trying to find other ways to even raise more funds, but also with my Dollywood companies and all the people I'm involved with Dollywood and Eugene and all of the partners that we have with our Stampede, and of course the Pirates Voyage, and of course the Dollywood Foundation. And we've added another $1 million to that 1 million. So we're starting out with a good little hunk. And like I said, we're trying to find other new ways to make money because it's going to take a lot of money.
Right now, there are 157 hotels in New York City that are completely full of illegal immigrants. Let me just repeat that number. 150 hotels in New York City that are completely full of illegal immigrants. New York City alone spends over $1 billion a year on illegal immigrants. And then you see these pictures of husbands and wives and children who have lost everything. Their homes have floated down rivers. Their homes have been taken out by mudslides. Their vehicles are gone. Their picture albums are destroyed. Every sentimental value that they could ever possibly imagine is gone. You know, will never be brought back. And what does Kamala do? She comes out and offers $750. $750. The TV in the person's house costs more than $750, and you see the absolute destruction. Sean, of all the political things that I've seen in the last decade, this is the one that bothers me the most. Right.
How much is rent here?
Free. 2 years.
After 2 years, we have to pay the rent.
All right, y'all, this is Savannah Hernandez in Brunswick, Maine, reporting to you from the apartments where migrants are getting their rent paid for up to 2 years. Now, I wanted to give you guys a first inside look at these units. The migrants shared with us that they come furnished, so they have a flat screen TV in there, couches, tables and chairs, a bed. We also asked them as well, hey, are you paying utilities here? They shared with us that nope, they do not have a water bill, they do not have an electricity bill.
And what about the light and the water?
Everything is good. We don't pay anything.
Now, I wanted to focus in on this area of Maine because there is a housing crisis going on currently for residents, and these buildings were initially created for Maine residents, but then it was decided that homeless migrants would be living here. Now, as an American, you can rent out one of these units, but a 1-bedroom is going to run you about $1,800, and a 2-bedroom is going to run you about $2,300. By the way, the average housing price for a house over here in Brunswick is about $480,000. So there was obviously a lot of outrage when it was first discovered that migrants were going to be housed here for free on taxpayer dollar. Now, I wanted to focus in on Brunswick as well because this is the same county that has received FEMA funding from that same program that spent almost $1 billion through the fiscal year of 2023 and 2024 on sheltering illegal immigrants throughout the United States of America. By the way, FEMA coming out and saying that they have run out of that funding.
We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
This is why I wanted to come up this way. This is why I wanted to come to Brunswick, because I wanted to show you guys a comparison of how the federal government is treating American citizens versus illegal immigrants and migrants in this country. This is how migrants up in Maine, up in Brunswick are living. We also went to Bangor, we went to Lewiston, and there are African migrants who share with us that they really like it over here, that they've been treated very well. We spoke to Catholic Charities who told us that they are expecting more migrants. They're actually bringing more migrants up this way.
Yeah, so we're expecting up to 150 refugees starting yesterday until September 30th, which is the fiscal year. And then we also have walk-in clients, which will increase those numbers. Generally for refugees that we know are coming, we help them get set up with an apartment, but we're always looking for like other landlords to work with as well for apartments.
So I wanted to give you guys an idea of what was going on in Maine, the uppermost corners of the United States of America, where you wouldn't expect there to be migrants. This is a direct result of the open border, the illegal immigration crisis that has been allowed to prosper over the past 3-4 years, and it's stretching to even areas of America that you wouldn't expect.
The people in North Carolina, you deserve to hear this. I'm a truck driver, all right? I have a 53-foot step deck. I've been trucking for about 2.5 years. I have a YouTube channel. You can verify that on Babyline Hotshot. Usually in a disaster situation, it is payday for truckers. We look for that hurricane. We look for that ice storm. There's generators coming to you. There's stuff coming out of military bases. There's excavators, skid steers, bulldozers, tree trimming equipment, pumps, like water pumps to pump water out of places that have been flooded. There's no loads on the load board coming to you within 125 miles of Asheville. It's called Truck Stop. This is where I find all my loads. Chicago, Illinois, up at the top. Within 250 miles of Chicago is where I'm gonna pick up. The second is the destination. So it goes origin, destination. Watch. See? Drop-off location. Let's do city. North Carolina. Click it. Boom. All right. These are all $1.40 a mile loads, $1.39. That was posted yesterday. I mean, there's nothing. There's nothing. These are loads that you wouldn't even, nobody's taking them. They're just on the load board. They've been on there since yesterday. You can see, right? Let's type in a different city. That's from Chicago. Maybe Tennessee, maybe Nashville is closer and they'd send resources from Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee, within 250 miles of Nashville to Asheville, North Carolina, within 125 miles. Let's see, that's it. That's all the loads. That's all the loads that are 28,000 pounds and less. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, what the hell's going on here? I had brokers call me and tell me, Stu, have you seen any loads going to Asheville or like anywhere around the Carolinas, South Carolina, Georgia? Is there any like FEMA loads? There's none. Zero. He's been a broker for 6 years. And he's talking to other brokers. They're saying the same thing. What's going on?
So to everybody that heard about all the supplies and planes that were coming from downtown Greenville Airport and flying up to North Carolina to deliver supplies, water, whatever anybody was donating and people were needing was being sent up there. Well, today it's awfully quiet, and we see these helicopters lined up, and they have a booth set up here and everything. Turns out that's FEMA. FEMA has shut down all the local donation operations that were going on and delivering supplies, and now they're saying that they're not allowed to deliver any more supplies anymore. So all these people are, unfortunately, have all these supplies but cannot take it up there. So that's our government for you. Oh, and another thing, those helicopters that have been sitting there, have been sitting there since this morning. Haven't seen a single movement, just a bunch of impacking of important equipment and nothing happening.
Literally lived through Hurricane Katrina in the Bush White House, and as I know you lived through it, Anderson, covering it, and I don't recall any restraint by Democrats or the national media coming after George W. Bush and FEMA and every other thing, and it was immediately politicized. And, you know, I well remember it. It's seared into my brain. And so now all these people are out here saying, we can't politicize this. We can't criticize this. Nothing can be said about Biden and Harris here or FEMA or anything else. And I just think, well, if a Republican were in the White House and the Republican president were at the beach and the vice president were raising money with celebrities, I guarantee you somebody would be mad about it. Gretchen really lived.
Fox News alert, at least 230 Americans are now dead from Hurricane Helene and hundreds still missing, while thousands have had their lives obliterated. President Trump with the people today. Here he is just moments ago in North Carolina at a town hall. Watch.
My name is Allie, and I'm from the foothills of North Carolina. Our entire community has been decimated. Thank you, President Trump, for visiting the disaster sites to bring attention and donating millions in relief. This week, we have learned that not only did 13,000 murderers illegally cross our border, but FEMA is out of money because they have been providing $9,000 to every illegal. Enough is enough. We must put Americans first. How soon will you start deporting the murderers?
So let me just tell you that you're right about that. It's 13,099 to be exact. We're going to get them out. We're going to have the largest deportation in history. I'm not proud to say that either, but it's a tough thing to do. And we're going to get, Anna, we're going to get the criminals out. We're going to start with the worst of them, and we're going to get them out. And, you know, Kamala should be here. She shouldn't be anywhere else.
Earlier, he was in Georgia with Governor Kemp. That relationship looks like it's patched up. Donald Trump taking questions from reporters. Listen.
It's been a terrible response from the White House. They're missing $1 billion that was used for another purpose, and nobody's seen anything like that. No, from that standpoint, it's been terrible.
Concerned about disenfranchised voters in Georgia?
I'm not thinking about voters right now. I'm thinking about lives, and to be honest, it's much bigger than anything else, but we're thinking about lives, a lot of lives lost, a lot of people missing, and that's what I'd be focused on right now.
Kamala Harris under fire for showing up late to the hurricane scene and for blowing off hurricane briefings before it made landfall. Today, she's 700 miles away in Michigan, wincing after the firefighters union refused to endorse her. In case you're keeping track at home, that's two major unions who've snubbed Harris. So while she scrambles for voters in Michigan, where she's been tied with Trump for a while, search and rescue crews are working around the clock to look for anybody in the southeast. Police say that because of the mudslides, they're going to be recovering bodies for months. Families tonight don't know whether their loved ones are dead or alive. Some don't know whether they'll even be sleeping tonight.
Your home is not salvageable at this point.
No, it ain't.
No, and Danny, you've been sleeping in your car.
Yes, sir.
For 4 or 5 nights?
Yeah.
What are you going to do right now, you think?
I have no idea.
honestly, truly, I have no idea.
Thousands are wondering the same thing, but Biden says everything's going great.
What do the states in the storm zone need, Mr. President?
Okay.
What do the states in the storm zone, what do they need after what you saw today?
Oh, in the storm zone?
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm you're talking about. They're getting everything they need, and they're very happy across the board.
Not everybody's very happy. Last night, we spoke to a survivor whose hopes are crushed.
It's too late. I mean, they took too long. It took them 5 days to get here. And I mean, it took 5 days for Biden to come here, and he didn't think we were worth coming down to see us himself. He had to fly over on his way to Raleigh. It's disgraceful. I mean, they keep saying we the people. No, there is no we the people. It's them versus us. So they're not for us. It's all about them.
These forgotten men and women have been left without a house, food, water, money, electricity. Initially, the Biden-Harris administration only mobilized 1,000 soldiers to help, and they did it days later. During Katrina, many more soldiers were mobilized within hours. Tens of thousands of service members are just sitting by at Fort Liberty, a massive military base just outside of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Why aren't they being deployed? To make matters worse, whistleblowers now tell Congressman Matt Gaetz that the federal response on the ground's a disaster, claiming hundreds, if not thousands of responders have been left twiddling their thumbs in hotel rooms, waiting for deployment orders. The whistleblowers also say FEMA's misappropriated and wasted taxpayer money. We asked FEMA about those allegations. They didn't give us a real direct response to the Gaetz memo, but they did say they've put up over 300 residents in hotels. That's not nearly enough. After blowing $1 billion on migrants and with Mayorkas saying, they ran out of money, FEMA clearly has been mismanaged, either through corruption or incompetence. FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell, who botched the Maui response, and now this, needs to be fired immediately. Sarah Verardo is the co-founder of Save Our Allies. All right, Sarah, aren't there military assets all over the place that can be deployed right now?
The military is waiting and standing by, Jesse. We know the 82nd Airborne is the best of the best, and Western North Carolina is a war zone. They need our nation's paratroopers to get in there, have command and control, and Governor Cooper needs to ask the White House to send the 18th Airborne Corps in now. It is becoming too late.
Are there reports of looting? We're hearing some troubling instances of looting.
There's a lack of law and order because there's no command and control. So Governor Cooper, North Carolina's governor, he has to ask the White House to send in our best. We need a military leader in charge there, not the 10% of the National Guard that is currently activated by our governor, but we need the full force of the 82nd and the 18th Airborne out of Fort Bragg.
We're also hearing reports about people needing body bags. Is that true?
Jesse, yes, I got a call just yesterday from one county that requested another 200 body bags that they've not been able to secure. We're working with partners through emergency management and Amazon to private source these bags while we desperately wait for command and control in the area.
All right. Save Our Allies. Great organization. I've been personally involved with it. Sarah Verardo, thank you so much. Keep up the great work. Hopefully we can get this together.